Hi there. So it's almost been a month since I got my A6 Hobonichi original in the Hobonichi sale, along with this lovely little colour with the light green and this almost tan sort of bark coloured cover. Very simple but very effective and very useful. Really enjoying it. So I thought I'd share with you how I'm using it. So, of course, I'll make use of the pockets. I did have stickers in there until I put them in here. So, usually when I printed them and cut them, if I've not got time to stick them and organise them, they go in there. So on the front, I've utilised, I think, pretty much every space in this book. So there's no like blank pages. Saying that, there are a couple, but I've got intentions for them. So the cover here is almost like a crossword sort of thing, and it's going to tie into my yearly overview and my monthlies, and it's basically so like firsts or something that was my favorite of the month. So like January was January, is it the 5th there? I think it's slightly skewed there. But first snow, then the 20, in March, there was a blood moon. Then in February, it was the Neo Arts that I got. And then the 25th of May, Macintosh at the Willow. So there's a couple of firsts there. Even though this book only covers April to next March, have put a couple of previous month's stuff on there as well, and I'll continue to fill this in and hopefully spread it out a little bit more there. So that's just a little fun thing I thought might be quite fun on the cover. So then going in on this page, I'm intending to do like a collage of myself because this stems from a conversation that I was having with a friend of, I'm not a big selfie taker or a portrait taker, so I don't really take photographs of myself. But she's like, if you're memory keeping, why aren't you taking an image of yourself to see what you look like? And I'm like, I think it's more keeping a track of when exactly was the point I turned into like a old haggard witch or something like that. So I am going to put like a picture of myself when I eventually get around to taking one. And then also like collage of like words and typography of like what I currently am and see how it changes over the years. So like creative, endometriosis, dyslexia, those sort of things that are me at the moment. And see if they change or if they are a constant throughout my life. So that would be quite interesting, I think. And then on this page, I've basically just wrote my intentions for this book, which is basically a space for me to slow down and just write the small, meaningful moments or even just the everyday stuff. Just like a little snapshot of my everyday, because this is purely a memory keeping book. Which kind of ties into my A5 Hobonichi, but this is a very visual way of doing it as opposed to, I've started to write like literally paragraphs of stuff within my A5, and I wanted to strip that back and just have like an image and maybe a sentence or two, which is what this book is going to be. So then on the yearly calendars, the yearly overviews, I'm intending to stick a photograph over that one because I'm not going to make use of 2024. But I basically got these light blue ones are basically long periods of respite that I know that I have got, will be taking. I always have a very long holiday over Christmas, New Year's and my birthday because it's literally one after the other, so I just take a long time off then. So most people get excited for the summer holidays, especially if you're in school or whatnot, but no, I'm more winter that way. Then I've got like big events, but by big events I mean like life-changing things. So I've already had one of those this year. Then I've got sort of birthdays and also like official holidays, so like Christmas, Halloween, bonfire night. I know they're not technically holidays, but I've put official holidays and events. But then I'm also got these little triangles one triangle's pointing that way, which is when I start traveling, and the triangle going the other way is when I come back from traveling. So as you can see, in January I did quite a bit of traveling, but by traveling I don't mean holidays. It's just literally for work or just a day out or this, that and the other. And if the triangle's pointing up, it means it's the entire day just going to one particular place. So for that day it was London, so going back to London there and back on the same day. But then I'm also using this calendar. If you notice, there's like a little F and a 1, and this ties into the firsts and the favourites of the month. So the F is favourites of the month, so it might be a book, it might be a movie, it might be a moment, it might be a memory. And then firsts are first of the year or first ever in my life. Which again, those are going to tie into the monthly calendars as well. So then on the next page, we've got some tracking. I've glued a couple of pages here because there was another couple of one of these, but they were for March, April and May, which for tracking wise, I don't really want to backdate because I need to remember daily what I am. Some of these I kind of track a little bit in my Hobonichi, but not so much. So I wanted to do more like a graph here as well because I quite like the look of this. So the brown sort of diamond shape is my mood and energy. So like if it's down here, it's like I've put depressed, but I mean like just sad, you know, the negative side of my mood and energy. And then the top is full of beans. Then here I'll have a turquoise one, which will be basically tracking how productive I am. Not necessarily in terms of work, but literally everything. So like housekeeping, aka if I'm just not having days where I'm just like lounging around, which those days are becoming more and more rare this day and age. So it's going to be interesting to see how productive I am. That will be like a turquoise colour. And the other thing that I'll be tracking are hours of sleep. So the full stars are when I've had solid sleep, so I've not woken up once, and then the empty stars are where I've had like broken sleep. And then I just track how many hours I do. And then the sort of wine coloured, although it does look quite dark here, is my endometriosis flare-ups, and also tracking when the symptoms sort of start and flare up as well. So unfortunately this month I've had a really bad flare-up at the beginning of the month, which was not fun. But obviously sometimes my mood coincides with that, and also my broken sleep, or if any sleep. And then obviously I'm imagining my productivity goes down as well. So it's going to be interesting to see if I can see any patterns, particularly throughout the months as well. So obviously I'll keep those up throughout the month. But again, I glued the pages in because there was a couple of extra monthly pages for the previous months that I don't want to fill in. So we start the months from April. I need to backfill this one. But going back to favourites and firsts, this is where I'll actually write the day and what it actually was. So faves go that way. And then first of the months will go along the bottom. So I've done that for those 2 months, for April and May. But then from June, although I'll actually backfill them as well, I've made it sort of kind of, I suppose you could call it an index to what's in the daily pages. But it's more like seeing the month as an overview of, like, I can quickly jump back to any of these memories and things straight away without having to flip through the dailies. But then when I want to jump to a daily, I can obviously quickly reference it. So in a way, it is kind of like an index, but I just wanted it to be like a snapshot of the entire month. So yeah, and I quite like leaving a border between them as well, so they don't get all wedged up together, because then that can look too fussy for my brain to interpret. So I quite like this. It's very visual and very simple, but that's what I wanted from this book. So then we've got the monthlies all the way, I think, till next March. And then again, there was some extra dailies, but I've just glued, monthlies, I've just glued them together. So it creates like this thick page, which is kind of like a nice divider. And then we've got turning this page. And I've basically just put I am here, and this is where I am when I started the book. Like, the reason why I'm doing the book, also what I'm intending from the book, you know, where my life currently is at, what I'm currently concentrating on, all those sort of things. So just who I was when I first started writing in the book. And then I've just tried to make it pretty with some stamps. And then the next page was a blank page. So then here it was just like basically like a summary of the key people, places and goals in my life right now. And then I also took a picture of when I was filling in this book there. So it's like, this is me then sort of thing. And then it goes into the dailies. You get a blank cover, I suppose you could, monthly cover, and then it just goes straight into the dailies. I haven't backfilled any of April yet. I do intend to, just not yet. I've started filling in some of May, so like I've stuck a lot of photographs in of what I did have on those days. They are kind of a little bit repeated from my main Hobonichi. And that's purely because obviously I was referencing the Hobonichi from what I was doing that day quite a bit. But going forward, I'm expecting them to be a different snapshot to what's in the Hobonichi. So this will be like a little snapshot, and then here will be more detailed of what I've done more in the day, or if I'm talking more about work or this, that and the other. So going into June, so far we're on June 25th. So far I've been able to keep up with doing them daily. I kind of don't do them daily. I kind of do them like every 3-4 days, and then that way it makes it easier to print stuff out. The cover page I've basically just repeated from my Hobonichi because I loved it so much, with a little poem that I wrote in stamps and things that I've got, and then these stickers from Sterling Ink. But these are my dailies, so it's literally just a nice big picture or several pictures and maybe some stickers, and then just a few lines of what that is about, what that day was about. And I have no intention of spreading the days out, because like with my Hobonichi I could write like 5 pages that go across 5 days, but it's only supposed to be for one day. So here I just want to keep it just literally a snapshot of one day on one page. So that is literally all it is throughout June. There's no indexing, there's no rhyme or reason. It's more like a scrapbooky photo album, which is what I wanted. So some stuff you might recognize because I've already talked about, or this, that and the other. And then go into a little bit more personal stuff, particularly when it comes to endometriosis. So yeah, I also found out that Marilyn Monroe, when I can speak, she also potentially had endometriosis as well. I say potentially, not to discredit her or anything like that. It's just obviously they didn't know back then about endometriosis, and they didn't really have an understanding of women's health back then. But from some of the accounts from doctors and also people that knew her, and some things that she had said herself and written, it's a high likely cause that she did unfortunately suffer with it. So yeah, it was kind of nice to find out that somebody even back then was going through some of the issues that I was. It was very relatable, and it was kind of an eye-opening moment for me, because I was kind of low at the point as well. So I don't know, it just sort of helped. And then slowly here you can see me sort of returning back to life, because after I've had a really bad endo flare up, it takes me like another week to kind of recover from it. So it's sort of like the first week, the first flare up, it can be a week, it can be a couple of days, or it can even be several weeks, unfortunately. And that's like the fight with Mike Tyson, and you just lose all the time. And then the week after that has finished, you then have a recovery of your body slowly getting back to some sort of normalcy. So that's when I usually sort of treat myself, and I have like self-care days. So I've gone and got myself some flowers, got some sushi, because when there's a flare up, you can eat, but it just makes you so ill because your tummy just swells and then you just feel sick all the time. So you'd rather starve than eat, because it does really get that bad. So when it does get back to recovery stage and you can start eating again, it is just like the best thing ever. And I like Yo Sushi. I've not been for a long time, and they've completely changed the menu. So I was like, where's my favourites gone? But I've discovered some new favourites, so it's fine. But yeah, bought myself a couple of books, some nail polish, and trying to get on with a cross-stitch project, trying to get it hopefully finished for Halloween, because I started it last Halloween. So hopefully I can get it done by this Halloween. And then there's been a baby fox in the garden at the Airbnb here, just chilling out, laying in the sunshine. He stood to attention when I opened the window to basically take a photo of him, and he just watched me for a little while, and then he just went back to curling up in the sunshine. He was so unbothered. But yeah, he's so small, because if you can see the size of these tiny plant pots next to him, and his paws are quite big as well, so he's going to grow. But it was just really nice. I've not seen a baby fox in ages. And also, this particular area is beach. It's not like woodlands or forests or anything, so it's so strange to see like foxes and things here. Then my Hobonichi, because decided on that cover, and I'm still waiting on your vote for which colour strap. I've just put the cream one on for now, but I've already had a couple of suggestions. I think I put a vote on my community posts, so if you want to go and vote on what colour strap I should have on it, then head over to there and have your say. Then here I had a quick return trip to Glasgow. Literally, it was a last minute spare of the moment thing, no planning whatsoever. I was just like, I'm going. So yeah, went there, did a little bit of shopping, and then just enjoyed Glasgow. It was when the heat wave was on as well, and it was just so nice to see Glasgow bathed in the sunlight. It was really nice, but it was actually much cooler in Glasgow than it was in Liverpool, so I kind of escaped most of the heat. So it was like 26, I think, in Glasgow, and then Liverpool was like 30, 31, and that's usually the point where I start to melt. So yeah, I do not handle the sun very well. So yeah, I went to some different stores. I went to Cass Art as well in Glasgow, in the hopes of getting some Caran d'Ache pastel pencils. These lovely things that I love using for my artwork. Open stock, but unfortunately they did not have any open stock, because I really need a couple of colours. But I don't want to justify putting a big order in online just to get free delivery for a couple of pastel pencils. So I failed at that, but at least I picked up some goodies in the sale though. So, you know, swings and roundabouts. This was a cute place that we discovered on the way back from Glasgow, and we stopped off there and had a little browse around. Then the second order of sterling ink came in, so wrote about that a little bit. Then this nail polish that I'm currently wearing is this one. This was from their Dior summer sort of collection, because they do like a collection each season. I normally prefer only getting the autumn ones, but I really like this coral. It's called Coral Pop, and it's just really summery and really light, and I quite like it. So wrote about that and put some samples in the book as well. But I looked in the Leeds store, the London store, and the Liverpool store. Nobody had it, but yeah, Glasgow did. And I met a lovely lady there who helped me sort of decide on some of the bits and bobs that I got from Dior as well. But again, super expensive treat, but only happens once or twice in a month. Yeah, but this was a rarity because I ended up buying that one because they didn't have this one. But this to me is a very autumn colour, so that's what I was thinking. If the autumn collection this year doesn't produce anything like, at least I've got this nice burgundy there. So yeah, I usually only do like my toenails colours all the time, especially during the summer, because obviously you wear sandals and things a lot more, and you're running around barefoot more, so it just looks nicer. And then also, lady in the store actually tried this on my face. Now, I don't know about you guys, but if you use facial wash, or soap or anything you wash your face with, clean your face, there we go. Your face can feel really tight and dry and itchy, and I have very reactive rosacea, and also very dry skin, so I've not yet found, and I've gone through literally tens of thousands of different types and brands at this point. I've been struggling with this since I was a teenager, so it's just annoying that you can't get it, and especially when you spend quite a lot of money on one and it still doesn't work. But this one she tried on in the store and it didn't feel tight or anything, and I was a little bit dubious about getting it because I'm thinking, has she put some like magic potion in there to make me buy it? But no, she didn't. I've been using it now for 3 days, I think, and honestly, my skin does feel, just using that with no moisturizer, no serums, no SPF, nothing, my skin feels really soft and it doesn't feel tight, and you know, there's not a lot that's going to help my rosacea. Yeah, that's why I got that. But yes, I'm rambling so much now. So I'm going to continue with the dailies like that throughout the month, and then obviously when I've got a moment or 10 to backfill the other dailies. So I want it to be like a nice little chunky book of memories. At the back there's 31st of March. Then there's a couple of grid pages, so I can use those for anything that takes my fancy. And then the usual grid, the guidelines at the back for different things. I don't tend to use these, and to be honest with you, I'll probably end up cutting them out to save a little bit of space, because already we're starting to get a little bit chunky, and I've almost done 1 month in it, so I imagine this is going to get very chunky. So I'll probably end up cutting those ones out, but I'll let you know if I don't. So that is how I'm using the A6 Hobonichi Techo Original Spring Edition. In the next couple of videos, I will probably show you how I'm setting my A5. Oh, look at the size. Look at the difference in size. It's so itty bitty. I mean, my hand's almost as big as that. Yeah, so I'll be showing you how I set up my the second half of my Hobonichi AVAC cousin for the next year in the next video, I think. But I shall also be showing you how I set this big boy up from Sterling Ink. So I think how I've got my camera zoomed in, you can't really see the difference in size, or maybe you can. So you got little, medium and large. So those will be the next couple of videos that come from me. So it'll all be like mid-year setup, July setups, and this, that and the other, and I'll show you what I'm doing with those 2 books as well. So slightly changing my planner system, my ecosystem, as I've seen somebody mention, is quite a good word for it, to be honest with you. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know if you guys use the A6s, and if you do you use them for memory keeping, or do you use them for something else entirely? I'd love to know. Please do consider subscribing. It does help the channel to grow, and you'll also be notified of when I do release, obviously, other videos that you might like. So thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.